Before this video begins, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Also, be sure to check out my affiliate links down below to get discounts on car mods and products. Alright, let's get into the drive. Hello and welcome. Today we are driving a 2022 Ford Explorer ST. This is an all-wheel drive model finished in white with a black leather interior. I would like to thank Flood Ford Lincoln of Narragansett, Rhode Island for allowing me to review this vehicle. Their link is down below. And I also did a full in-depth review with this SUV before on the channel, so make sure to check that out for a more in-depth dive into all its features. So this has about 8,800 miles on it, and its stickers around $61,000. This is a mid-size SUV with 3 rows of seats and captain's chairs in the second row, so it seats 6 people. This weighs 4,700 pounds in a curb weight and is powered by a 3-liter twin-turbo V6, making 400 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque. This is mated with Ford GM co-developed 10-speed shiftable automatic. This achieves 60 miles per hour in about 5.5 seconds, and achieves 18 miles per gallon city, 24 on the highway, and 20 combined, out of a 20.2 gallon fuel tank. This can tow 5,600 pounds, and rides on 20-inch gloss black ST wheels, with 255s all around. It does also have some great red brake calipers. Alrighty, let's get this out on the road. So this does have a rotary shifter. Alrighty. So visibility in here is pretty good because it's a giant boxy-ish SUV. It's a car-based SUV, but it is pretty dang large. So getting through some tight spots like this is not the most comforting. As you can see in front of me, one of the greatest things I think, at least just kind of for a funny reason about this car, is the steering wheel. This has a flat bottom steering wheel. That's sportier than what comes in a Mustang, and it has gigantic 10-2 bolsters, and it also has a ST badging. It's so funny. This thing has real touches of sportiness to it, along with, of course, the exterior. But yeah, even the interior, it's pretty funny, the type of sportiness they added to this thing. So we are currently just in normal drive mode, so... And this is only a 3-liter V6. It's not going to be an overly loud engine, but it's twin turbo, so you may be able to hear a good bit of turbo noise. Okay. I can hear you. I can hear you, engine. You want to wake up. Oop, that is the power folding mirror. Alright, so we are currently in normal drive mode. For the interior in here, besides maybe this tablet type of infotainment system, I kind of wish it were more horizontal. I think it's a pretty nice interior in here. Mostly soft touch materials, which is nice. And overall, I think it's a good balance. That was auto stop start. This does have auto stop start, which I disabled because I hate auto stop start. That's just my opinion. I think it has a lot of, you know, it causes some engine wear prematurely, just starting and turning off your engine. I don't think it's worth it. So let's get into it a little bit. Okay, that's only 40 right there, but that was impressive. This is only in normal mode, and this thing just jumps. Wow. I don't really exactly know who they made this car for, this SUV. I can't really name too many buyers who, unless you want to go buy like a Hellcat Durango or now the Escalade V or something. Those are extremely expensive. I guess this is kind of settling in below those to get a very fun to drive mom or dad SUV for a soccer hauler type of setup. Minivans are becoming a thing of the past, so I guess people are getting bored with 3-row SUVs, so they want a sporty one. It's definitely not a bad choice. For wind noise in here going about 55, it's not too bad. It's a little bit there. A little bit more tire noise as well than probably a typical Explorer, just due to them being larger. But overall, it's okay. As for the brake feel, they're very good. Of course, they're those giant red brake calipers. They're very powerful brakes. And they feel very nice. And we will test out the paddles in just a moment. I like the sound of this engine. Sounds not deep and throaty, but it doesn't sound like obviously like a 4-cylinder either. It sounds very happy medium. And it has that quad tip dual exhaust, which you saw in the startup, and yeah, it sounds pretty dang good in my opinion. Alright, so we will pop it into manual mode, so now we can deal with the paddles, and I'll actually put it into sport mode. So we are now in sport. We'll come to a stop. Alrighty, let's stomp it. Wow, very fast response from those paddles. Yeah, it's a little it's faster upshifting than it is downshifting for response from those paddles. For the ride, I'm currently in sport mode, but going over those rough spots, it's really not that bad. You can really hear those turbos spool up. I like that. I don't know if there's audio pumped in, but it sounds great. Let's pull out of paddle mode, just go back into drive and sport mode. Wow, this thing really does like to fly. It's so big, it should not be flying like this. It's the equivalent of like, it's getting close to like driving a Hellcat, engine Durango or a Jeep Trackhawk. It's just really funny in that it shouldn't exist in the way that it does. But that was just a clipboard. But yeah, it should not exist in the sense that it does. It's really funny. Yeah, it's a rotary dial, so popping her into reverse will be like so. And then going back into drive is just all the way the other way. Let's see. Oh my gosh. I'm not even like flooring it, and I just got some tire spin. That is so dang funny to me. Yeah, I guess this is definitely a pretty fun SUV to drive. For what it is, it's a literal Ford Explorer, and you can get tire spin. Oh my goodness, this is so funny to me. And I'll get back to you in just a moment when we're back out on the highway. Yeah, so for wind noise going around 60, it's not all that great, but it's not terrible. The seats in here, they're both heated and cooled in full levels, in 3 levels, excuse me. And it does have a heated steering wheel, so that's pretty nice. And then additionally, the seats themselves, they have some ST badging on them, and they're pretty good. They have some pretty good bolstering, both in the torso area and in the leg and thigh area. So it's pretty good to drive in that regard. Pretty good to ride around in. Yeah, there's really a lot of torque from this engine. Of course there's going to be. There's about 400 to 415 pound-feet of torque. So this really doesn't have too much of a drop-off in the torque band, which is nice. And the power band overall. So far, I really like driving this thing. It's impressive, honestly. And for steering feel, it's pretty calm when you're in normal, but if you pop it into different modes, it does appear to change a little bit. It'll just be electronic changes, but let's see, like if we go into, if we go the other way into sport mode, yeah, I can feel the steering tighten up just a wee bit. So that's pretty good to have. And of course the gauge cluster. I love the gauge cluster in sport mode. This thing is pretty dang fun. The ride is nice. In really any of the modes, the ride is pretty nice. So that's good. For a 3-row SUV, this thing is huge, but it really doesn't drive that way, so that's nice. And in just a moment, we will do a 0 to 60 run. Alright, so right here we will turn traction off. Alright, so we turn traction mode off. We will go into sport mode. Just a moment while these cars pass, but we will go into sport mode and we will do a rough 0 to 60 run and see if we get any tire spin. Alrighty, and let's come to a stop and floor it. Wow, this thing flies. Once again, this is a 3-row, 6-seater SUV. This should not exist. This should not exist in this level of sportiness. I very much enjoy driving this. I should never be able to say as a car enthusiast, I like driving a Ford Explorer, but that's where we are in the American car market. Oh my goodness, I love this thing. For some of my gripes though, I wish it had a little bit more of a luxurious interior, although it's okay. A lot of it's just hard plastic or rubberized. I wish it was more like quilted touch or real soft touch materials, not just like a very slightly not hard plastic thing. Wish it were a little nice in that regard. Nicer. And well, that guy almost just got killed, but casually. So Yeah, but visibility is great in here. They literally took a family SUV. They took a Ford Explorer, which is a pretty good SUV in its own regard. Yeah, they just put power in it, and it worked very well. I very much like this thing. So, and you can peel out in it, which is even funnier. So, yeah, I think it's a very fun car, very fun SUV to drive for what it is. It's not like going to be tight around corners. You should not be sending this thing into corners. Ride's a little high for that, but yeah, overall, it's very impressive for what it is. So that is very cool. And it's a bit pricey though, for 60 grand. But I don't know if it's worth 60 grand for the performance. I'm not sure. That's kind of up to you guys. But overall, I think this thing is pretty dang fun. It's definitely going to be the most fun Explorer that I've ever driven. Maybe forever. We'll see. Maybe in the future they'll make some kind of hybrid, and it could be even more exciting. But thank you again to Flood Ford of Narragansett, in Narragansett, Rhode Island, for allowing me to drive and review this vehicle. Be sure to check out my in-depth review where I speak a lot more about all its features and all that jazz. Currently out on the channel. Thank you very much for watching, and take care.